Welcome to the deep dive. You know, sometimes a single piece of news just lands and it hits so hard it sort of forces you to stop and really unpack layers of pop culture history. And today, that's exactly what we're doing. We're going to delve into the news that has genuinely rocked the world of entertainment and sports. The passing of wrestling legend Hulk Hogan. We've pulled together quite a stack of sources here, and they paint a really fascinating, sometimes quite complex picture of his life and, well, his legacy for you. And what's immediately striking, like as we dive into these sources, is just the sheer speed and the breadth of the breaking news. WWE Hall of Famer, wrestling icon Hulk Hogan passed away on Thursday, July 24th. He was 71.
Yeah, 71.
Initial reports, and these were confirmed pretty quickly by outlets like TMZ Sports, they indicate it was cardiac arrest.
Mm-hmm.
The Clearwater Police Department noted a call from his home at 9:51 a.m. local time.
Okay.
Local fire and rescue were on site before he was transported to a nearby hospital. And, well, that's where he was pronounced dead.
It's just quite something. And a key takeaway really from the sources is just how incredibly fast a story like this magnitude, can just spread. It really underscores his broad cultural impact, you know?
Right.
But while that immediate grief is obviously there, it's undeniable, the sources also pivot pretty quickly to the more, let's say, complex aspects of his persona. They kind of hint that the shockwaves weren't exactly uniform across all the fan bases.
Yeah, that's a good point. And to give you a really vivid sense of that immediate public reaction and just the sheer unexpectedness of it all, our sources highlight this truly striking detail that just went viral almost instantly.
Oh, the video.
Yeah, the TikTok video. It showed paramedics right outside Hogan's Clearwater, Florida home.
Mm-hmm.
They were like desperately attempting CPR as he was being loaded into an ambulance right there on the sidewalk.
Wow. Yeah, just incredibly raw.
Exactly. A raw, unfiltered glimpse into that emergency unfolding in real time, basically.
Yeah.
So this kind of brings us to the core of this deep dive, doesn't it? The monumental and, yes, complex legacy of Hulk Hogan. Our sources really paint this picture of a figure whose impact on pop culture and wrestling is just, well, it's undeniable.
Absolutely undeniable.
Let's think about it for a second. He's widely considered one of the most legendary figures in wrestling history, full stop.
Mm-hmm.
He basically ushered in this whole new golden age with Hulkamania back in the 1980s.
A phenomenon, truly.
He was a 6-time WWE champion, a 6-time WCW world champion. I mean, the list goes on.
And then the NWO.
Exactly. He even helped redefine the industry again by forming the NWO in 1996.
Right.
And beyond the ring, I mean, he starred in films like Rocky III, No Holds Barred.
Yeah, the movie career.
And he had his own reality show, Hogan Knows Best.
Right, which brought him to a whole different audience again.
Can you even imagine the scale of Hulkamania back in the 80s? The sources describe it as this like cultural phenomenon that just transcended wrestling.
Oh, totally.
He became a household name. He wasn't just a wrestler anymore. He was like a cartoon character, a movie star, almost a brand.
Yeah, brand unto himself, really.
And then, boom, in 96 comes that seismic shift with the NWO, fundamentally changing the industry again.
That heel turn was massive. Shocking at the time.
It's almost unprecedented, isn't it, for one figure to embody such different, hugely impactful eras.
It really is.
So, okay, with all of this incredible legacy, how did these sources then grapple with those almost unparalleled highs of Hulkamania set against some of the, very public and deeply impactful controversies?
Well, yeah, and that's where it gets really insightful looking through these sources. It isn't just that Hogan was controversial, but how those controversies, from the racist remarks that surfaced to even that NWO heel turn, which was controversial in its own way for fans at the time, how they often became sort of inextricably linked to his monumental impact.
Right.
It kind of challenges the traditional notion of a hero's journey, and it forces us, maybe you listening to consider how public figures, especially in something like wrestling, which is performance art, how they can embody these really stark paradoxes, and how fans reconcile them both like in real time and then, well, after they're gone.
That's a really cute point.
I mean, look, he was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame twice as a soloist in 2005 and then with the NWO in 2020.
Right. 2 separate inductions.
But he was also removed from the Hall of Fame entirely for 3 years back in 2015.
After those racist remarks came out.
Exactly. Remarks he later called a slip-up. And And even his most recent appearance on WWE television, which was at that premiere of Raw on Netflix.
Yeah, I remember reading about that.
He was reportedly booed by the Los Angeles audience. And the sources point to this as like a stark demonstration that for many fans, the complexities, the difficult parts of his public persona were still very much unresolved, even in a setting basically designed to celebrate his legend.
Wow. Yeah, that's telling, isn't it?
It is.
It really is a lot to unpack. And it truly makes you reflect on the whole nature of public life, public figures. So for you, our listener, maybe this raises an important question, something to ponder.
Yeah, definitely. How do we as a society sort of reconcile these often really conflicting aspects of public figures? You know, the legendary achievements on one hand versus the personal failings or the serious controversies on the other, especially after they've passed away.
Right. What does it actually mean for a legacy to endure for decades? You know, the sources say his influence will be honored for decades, even while calling him one of the most flamboyant and controversial personalities.
Exactly. What does that endurance mean when it exists regardless of individual actions that might have caused real harm or exclusion or just widespread public disapproval?
It's a tough question.
It really challenges us, I think, to think about how we process these incredibly complex lives and their lasting impact. Something for you to definitely mull over.